Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to the first in our four-part webinar series on financial and legal considerations for your small business. My name is Heather Christensen. I am the founder and CEO of My Offsite CFO. We offer bookkeeping and financial reporting for small businesses. We tend to specialize in family-owned small businesses because we understand that there are some special considerations when you have a family-owned business. Not only are you running a business, but you've also got a family at home that you've got to take care of as well. Usually in those situations, one of the two partners ends up doing the books when it's not necessarily their forte. And we're here to help alleviate some of that stress on the small family-owned business. So today we're going to be talking about the top 5 apps to help streamline your money life and reclaim your time. Actually, at least one of these, 2 of these apps, I would say, are both for your business and sort of your personal life. Our whole purpose is to try and help you gain more efficiencies in your life. Now, if we can gain more efficiencies in your personal life, then you have more time to spend on your business. And then if we can gain more efficiencies in your business life, then you have a whole lot more time to spend on your personal life. It's all about balance and trying to do more with less, get more out of our day. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Nobody gets any more than that. So the more efficiently you can use your time, or the more that you can automate certain parts of your business, the better off you'll be for both your small business and your life. So this is the first in a 4-part webinar series. This is actually a revisit. We did the first installment last night. If you missed it, we're just going to be covering the same topics today as we did last night. Next week will be Jennifer Goldsmith, Esquire. She is an attorney registered with the State Bar of California, and she'll be reviewing wills versus trusts and other considerations for succession planning for your small business, especially again for a family-owned small business. You got to make sure that your assets and your children and your family is covered if anything were to ever happen. Goodness forbid. So today we're going to go over the top 5 apps that I have for gaining some more efficiencies in your life and in your business. And the first one I have for you today is going to be, let me just share my screen for you. So the first one we're going to review today is IFTTT. This is one of my favorites. I'm sort of a fangirl of IFTTT. I have been using this for a long time. I've used it mostly in my personal life, somewhat in my business as I've integrated more of my business into my day-to-day operations. I found that IFTTT has become more and more useful for me. You can create what's called recipes to connect applications that don't natively have a connection. Now, things like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, they tend to have a native connection. You can automatically connect your Twitter account to your Facebook account to your Instagram account. You don't need another application to run those. However, there are some applications that don't have a native connection. And what IFTTT does is it helps you to automate that process. They used to call them recipes. They call them applets now. The terminology has changed, but essentially the functionality is still the same. So let's go review a couple of the we're going to visit a couple of the applications that you can use with this. So as you can see, it gives you some recommendations of 18 applets to start with. Things like share your Facebook page updates on Twitter. Again, this is something that you can do. It usually works the other way. Twitter connects to Facebook rather than the other way around. But if you'd rather have it work backwards, where anything you post on your Facebook page automatically updates Twitter, this would be a great applet for you to have. Back up your Facebook status updates to Evernote. There are other applications, things like Time Hop, that will remember what you were doing on Facebook last year or the year before, but if you want just a simple way to do it, this will track your updates to Evernote, especially if you're going to reuse your business content over and over again. This might be a useful place to go back and review. What have I shared? What did I share this time last year, to get an idea of how you can churn your content and get more useful use out of it. Back up any photos you post on Facebook to Dropbox. No one can say it enough. You need to back up, and having a backup in the cloud, something like a Dropbox or a Mozy or some sort of an online backup, is essential in this day and age. We have all of our lives online or on our hard drives or on our computers, and goodness forbid something should happen to your computer or your hard drive. Then where are you going to recreate that information? Gives you the opportunity to follow IFTTT's updates, tweet your Facebook status update. So this is just the recommended applications that you can use, or the applets that you can start. And again, up here, they'll show you a bunch. Applets we love, see all of the collections, the 18 applets for Google, and then the 18 to start with. And other widgets we love, healthy habits. There's all sorts of things. I mean, if you have a Fitbit, you can have your Fitbit record a note about your sleeping habits. So if you go here under search, it will give you a sort of a selection of some of the applications that are available for you to connect. This is not by any means comprehensive. This is just sort of the most common. Spotify, notifications, Skype, Gmail, Twitter, Instagram. I use the notifications every month. Notifications is a text message on your phone. This will actually send me a text message to remind me on the first of the month I have automatic payments that go out. Some of those subscription services, well, maybe I want to skip this month. It reminds me a couple of days in advance to go and check all of those things that I have going for the first of the month, and reminds me to get ready for those things I need to do to close out the month. But there's all sorts of tools here. As you can see, appliances. Who knew, right? Our appliances talk to us now. So you can link your appliances to the IFTTT. Blogging, this is one that I especially like. So if you have WordPress or Blogger, I use this one myself. Whenever I post a blog post to WordPress, it automatically updates my Facebook and my Twitter. Saves me time. Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's not, maybe it's not a whole lot of time, but I don't have to think about it. All I have to do is post my blog post to WordPress, and IFTTT takes care of the rest. You can post to LinkedIn. This takes care of sort of that, the sharing that you want to do in your business that you know is essential to get your name out there, to get your face out there, to deepen relationships with your customers and your clients, but takes time away from your highest and best. It takes time away from the thing that you shine at. Having the application post for me gives me more time to reach out and call a client during those 5 or 10 minutes, or gives me time to sit down and send an email, or write a personal card to one of my clients. It frees up my time to do other things that are more in my zone of genius, right? So you can share your new WordPress post to Blogger. So if you have both applications, you can share one to the other. You can post your Instagram photos to Tumblr. If you're on Tumblr, it'll allow you to connect that as well. Calendars and scheduling. This is one of my favorites. So you can automatically wish your friends a happy birthday on Facebook. So again, if you're trying to make those intimate connections with your clients and your friends, if you keep their information in your calendar, it'll automatically go out to Facebook and post a happy birthday to you. It's a simple thing, but it lets people know that you're thinking about them. Whenever you add a new iOS contact, mark it in your Google Calendar. Now, this one is very useful, especially if you're going to be following up with people that you've met at networking events or other conferences or other events. If you have the conference or the networking event marked on your calendar, and then you add a new iOS contact, it'll add it on that same day so that when you go back to follow up, it's very easy for you to call and say, hi, Susie, I met you at such and such networking event, and it was so great to meet you. I'd love to hear more about your business and how I could possibly help you. Would it be possible to get on a phone call? It allows you to have the information you need to do follow-up in a very confident, precise way, without having a handful of business cards and going, oh goodness, when did I meet this person and why do I have their card? It also has some finance and payments information. So for example, if you're not already using an accounting program, such as a QuickBooks Online or a Xero, if you're not already tracking your income and expenses that way, if you're just using spreadsheets, which a lot of people do when they start out, the finance and payments section is one of those that can do can download your transactions from Stripe, can download your transactions from Square, and create a spreadsheet for you. So add new Square payments to a spreadsheet. So that will keep your information in a secure place where you can go back and you can look, instead of having to go into Square and pull a report, go into Stripe and pull a report. In one place, it'll list all of the transactions you had over a certain period of time. And in Google Spreadsheets, just like with Excel, you can sort by date, and you can have, so if your accountant asks you, well, how much did you sell for 2016? Well, you know what? I have that right here in my spreadsheet. Makes things like taxes much easier. Education, email, location, notifications. As you can see, there are literally thousands of different applications for IFTTT. And the community in IFTTT has created these applets, and they share them on the website. So you don't even have to go recreate the wheel. Now, you absolutely can if you want. If there's something specialized that you do all the time that is not listed anywhere on the site, you can create your own recipe. But for the most part, a lot of the things that you will need to do are all, if anybody else has ever needed to do it in their life and they're on IFTTT, it's probably already here. So all of the different social networks, any social network you could possibly be interested in, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Facebook pages, Facebook. Whenever I post to Instagram, it creates an entry on my Pinterest board for my Instagram photos automatically. Things like that. If you want to post your blog post to LinkedIn, you put a special tag in and it'll automatically post to LinkedIn. There are so many ways that you can use this IFTTT to connect your applications. This is one of my favorites, to keep your Facebook and Twitter profile pictures in sync. How many times have we forgotten to update? I used to have a picture of my adorable child. I'm a little biased, I admit, but I used to have a picture of my child as my Facebook profile. Before I used all of my Facebook and my Twitter for business, I had personal profiles up there. Now that I have a business account on both Twitter and Facebook, I use this to keep those profile pictures in sync. So if I update it one place, I update it another, which means that my branding is consistent across all of the social media platforms. And again, there's the automatically wish your friends a happy birthday. So there are literally thousands of these applets that you can use. I could probably spend the entire half an hour talking. In fact, I've spent half the time already talking about IFTTT and all of the different things that you can do. I love the application. I do recommend, I have the app on my phone, and I love using the app on my phone, scrolling through and looking at new applets and seeing what I might want to implement in my business. However, I really do recommend using the website when you are logging in or signing up, because there is just so much. It's so extensive that you'll get frustrated looking on your phone. But it is an amazing application to, like I said, connect applications that don't necessarily have a native integration. Okay. And I'm going to go back. So the next one is going to be Expensify. Now this is you can use this for personal reasons if you want, but this is really for expense tracking for your business. So for Expensify, it allows you to take a picture with your smartphone, because that's our number one business tool these days. Everybody has a smartphone, and they're so connected these days that there's no reason not to use them to their fullest capacity. You're going to have it on you anyway. Who doesn't carry their phone around with them practically 24/7? So if you have your phone on you anyway, why not use it to help you with your business? So if Expensify will allow you to take a picture of your receipts as you're, moving through your day, and classify them, just a general classification, make a couple of notes on them. The IRS has accepted electronic receipts as proof of payment for if you're ever audited for your books. And they've accepted electronic copies of receipts since 1997. You don't have to keep a shoebox full of receipts unless that's what you really want to do. I will say, though, if you haven't noticed already, most of those receipts are printed on thermal paper, and you're more than likely going to have blank pieces of paper after a while anyway. So getting some sort of an electronic filing system is, in my opinion, critical. I always set up a Dropbox folder for all of my clients. I set them up by year and by month, and then I drop any of the information that we need to reference in those folders, so that in the future, if we ever have to go back and retrieve it, it's easy to retrieve. And that's one of the requirements of the IRS stipulation for accepting electronic receipts. So here, I'll just pull up. I won't read it to you. Nobody needs to take a nap. The IRS bulletins and literature is literally nap inducing for most of us. But as you can see up here, this is bulletin number 1997-13, which was issued March 31st of 1997. And if you read here, Revenue Procedure 97-22 on page 9, it talks about books and records, electronic storage, and imaging. Now, if you have the time and you feel like it, you can go to page 9 and read the entire text of what Procedure 97-22 states. But basically, it states that you can keep electronic records as long as they are materially similar to the original, and that they contain all of the information that you need. So in other words, if you go out to lunch with a client, that's great, and it's absolutely a business deduction. However, you can't just at the end of the year say, oh yeah, I went out to Jamba Juice with a client, and it was a client meeting. Okay, well, who did you talk to? Who did you see? What did you speak about? You don't have to be super detailed, but you can't just claim every meal is a business meal. Unfortunately, the IRS does not believe it, and meals and entertainment is one of the top auditable categories for the IRS. It's where they look for people not reporting precisely. That and office supplies are one of the two big categories. The IRS has a database, and they know approximately how much each company of each size in each industry spends on those categories. And if you fall considerably outside of those averages, then it's likely that they may want to take a look. Now, again, the chances of audit are extremely small for most people. For most small businesses, the chances that you're going to be audited are extremely small. So please don't be overly nervous about it. The other thing I always tell all of my clients is who works for the IRS or for the state? People just like you and me. And as long as they're not having a bad day and you treat them with respect, you can often get more help than you would ever imagine from people from the IRS or from the state. Back to Expensify. So Expensify is wonderful because as the main user, you can assign somebody to be your wingman. And as somebody who's your wingman, that gives your bookkeeper or office manager access to the information that you're taking on the fly. It syncs automatically from the application in your phone to the online application. And they can come in and they can view the receipts, they can pull reports, they can do all of the things that they need to get the information in order to in my case, for my clients, my clients put their receipts in here, and I use that to do their books. So it's a great tool. It's something that's in the palm of your hand. You don't have to change your habits. And in fact, it might help with some of the clutter that all of us have. You know, if you can just take a picture of that receipt, write a couple of notes, and throw the receipt out, how much cleaner will all of our cars be, right? Okay, so that's Expensify. There is a small charge for the service. It's $5 per month per active user. So again, if you're the only one using it, or everybody, or and it syncs with QuickBooks and Xero, if you're the only one using it, it's $5 a month. And you can add somebody as your wingman, and the wingman does not cost you anything extra. Okay. Well, let's go back to our next is MileIQ, and MileIQ is one of my favorites. And in fact, I just recommended this to a mentor of mine recently, and she loves it too. MileIQ allows you to track your mileage that you drive in your vehicle. Because if you're using your vehicle for both personal and professional reasons, you have to track those miles separately. Again, it's the same thing as with the meals and entertainment. At the end of the year, you can't just say, oh, yeah, I drove 4,500 miles last year and all of those were business miles. And you need to track your odometer reading at least once a year. January 1st, before you drive for the first time on January 1st, you know, take your odometer reading for the year. Then at the end of the year, you'll know exactly how many miles you drove. And MileIQ will help you to classify those miles that are actually business miles versus personal miles, so that if you itemize your mileage deduction, it'll allow you to easily see exactly how many miles you spent on the driving for business purposes only. And it's a very easy application. They have an animation on their website that I'm going to show you that shows you exactly how to do the classifications. It's a swipe and a couple of clicks, and that's really all you have to do. And because of the GPS locator in your phone, the MileIQ app tracks where you're going automatically. You don't have to tell it, hey, I started here and it was this odometer reading and I ended here. That's why I said, if you check your odometer one time per year and then use MileIQ for the rest of the year, it's a really simple calculation to say, I drove a total of 10,000 miles last year. And of those, according to MileIQ, 4,500 of those were business miles. It allows you to have reports. The same as with the Expensify. So let's go back to all right. So MileIQ, automatic detection. It automatically recognizes when you're in your car and you're driving, right? It automatically recognizes that. And then as you can see from the animation here on the right, you swipe right, and it asks you for a category if it's a business mile. If it's not, you swipe left, and that's a personal thing, and it doesn't ask you anything else. It also will keep track based on the IRS standard mileage rate for the year. It'll track how much money you can actually get back. As you can see on the top of this, 108 drives, 1,148 miles driven, $551 logged. So it makes it very simple to keep track. It sort of, you know, it's like it's gamifying our life, right? So on the app, it'll actually tell you how much money am I saving, or how much money am I potentially saving by tracking my mileage. Mileage tracking is the same for the IRS as is the expense tracking. You have to keep some records. And if you don't keep records, it's another one of those places where it's easy for them to negate your deductions or to reduce your deduction significantly if you're not keeping track. But with apps like this, it makes it so simple to track that you don't need to keep detailed paper records in your cars. I know a lot of salesmen used to do that. They'd keep a little notebook in their car, and they'd have to write down every day, this is where I started, this is the mileage I started, this is the mileage I ended, this is what I did today. This app makes all of that so easy to do without having to worry about keeping track. Now you can create a free account, but MileIQ has a limited number of drives per month that you can do under a free account. So you may need to upgrade, and I believe it's $5.99. It's a very small dollar amount that you would have to pay in order to keep track of the mileage that you log. Now, if you don't do a lot of driving for your business, then maybe MileIQ isn't worth the money to you. And at that point, you might as well just take the standard mileage deduction. That's a conversation that you should probably have with your CPA, asking them whether or not it's worthwhile for you to take the standard mileage deduction or to do the mileage tracking to get more specific information. Okay. LastPass. So LastPass is a password keeper. It's a password protection service. I have it on all of my devices, on all of my browsers. We all tend to fall into the habit of using the same password or the same variation on the same password over and over and over again. And we all know that that's not secure. And we all know that, you know, if someone were to get that one master password of yours, that they would be able to get into so many things online for you. LastPass takes all of that information and saves it for you, so you don't have to remember. You have to remember one master password. That's it. And of course, I recommend that you make up a different master password than the one that you've been using all the time. No, goodness knows we wouldn't want anybody to get into your LastPass and then have access to all of the things that you have access to. The great thing about LastPass is it generates those secure passwords for you. So it'll take all of the parameters on all those different websites. You know, this website needs 8 characters, and one of them has to be an uppercase and a lowercase and a number and a symbol, and it can't be the same number, you know, multiple numbers in a row. And you know, there are some government websites out there that ask you to have a password that's 15 characters long, has an uppercase, a lowercase, a number, a symbol, can't have any repeating, more than 2 repeating characters, can't be in order, you know, no 1, 2, 3, 4, and cannot be the same as any of the last 10 passwords that you've generated. I got to tell you that I've had to create those passwords before, and I've gone through every single member of my family multiple times, rotating names, rotating dates, rotating information. And at the end of it, after I finally figured out a password that would meet all of the parameters and fit within the structure that they sent, I'd end up writing it down on a Post-it note and sticking it on my computer. Now, how secure is that? If you're going to make me create this extremely secure password, but I'm just leaving it sitting on a sticky note on my computer, that's not safe for anybody. So LastPass takes all of that away for you. It makes it so easy to create secure passwords. It also does an audit of the passwords that you already have. So what it'll do is it'll go through, you'll ask it to do the audit, and it'll go through and do an audit of your account and say, okay, well, you know that password that you use all the time? Yeah, here's the 7 places that you're using that password, and offers you the opportunity to go in and change it, either directly through the app or, you know, by sending you out to log into the site and change it there. If you can see here, it's this little red symbol with the 3 dots on it, and it's gonna want me to log in. Oh no. So your vault is where all of your passwords are stored. You can go to all the various sites that you have, secure notes for different places, security questions, right? So you answer security questions and you try and be sneaky, or there's so much different for each website. I had a website recently that asked me, what's the one sports team that you love to see lose? I'm like, okay, I could probably answer that off the top of my head pretty easily, but it's actually one of 3 different sports teams that I would love to see lose at any given time. So which one did I choose? So LastPass will allow you to write secure notes to yourself, again, about things like the security questions that you used and what were your answers for those. Form fills. If you wanted to keep your name, address, credit card number in LastPass, you can. I personally don't. It's just my personal preference, but it absolutely has the way for you to do that. And here's the magic, is this generate secure password. As you can see, it gives you a password based on your parameters, password length, anywhere from 4 up to, you could have 100 characters that it would create a password for you. Advanced options allow all character types. If you wanted to make it pronounceable, if you wanted it to be a word instead of just a selection of symbols, here's the A to Z, 0 to 9, there's the symbols, minimum numeric characters. So if you had to have a couple of characters, avoid ambiguous characters. How many times have we mistaken a capital letter O for a 0, or something of that nature? So this will give you the ability to set all the parameters that you need so that you can create a secure password every single time. And then you copy the password, or you click the use, and it inserts it already into the form that you're filling. And when you're all done, it'll ask you to, if you're creating a new account, it'll ask you if you wanted to save it. It allows you to put them in categories. For me, I have a shared file where all of my client password information is that I need to share with my staff in order for them to be able to access client files if they need to. That's in a different place from where my personal information is. Like, I have a shopping category for all the places that I love to go and shop. I have something for my utilities for my home. I have business, things that are related to my business but aren't necessarily for access for my staff. Things like, my WordPress login, or my business bank account login, or my Twitter or Facebook accounts for my business, right? So that's the other thing that LastPass makes available to you, is this sharing feature. And this sharing feature is absolutely worth its weight in gold. It's $12 a year. Now you have to pay that $12 upfront, but I don't know anybody that can't normally find $12 that's a couple of Starbucks runs, right? So for $12 a year, it gives you the ability to share your passwords, effortless password sharing. So my staff, I pay for their $12 a year subscription so that they have the LastPass on their computers and I can share passwords with them. It's a simple click for me in the sharing center to assign or remove permissions depending on what I need them to have access to. It also allows me to hide the passwords. They don't have access to see the passwords. They can use it. They can launch the website, but they don't have the ability to see or to change the passwords in LastPass. And again, the fortify your passwords. Only you have the master password, so only you can access the information in the encrypted vault. And again, it has that amazing audit feature that will help you make sure that your passwords are very secure. And there's the premium for $1 a month. Now, if you have a larger organization, they do offer enterprise solutions. It tends to be very pricey. So unless you're looking at a very large organization, the $12 per year premium plan works for just about everybody I know of. And again, I have LastPass as the app on my computer or on my phone as well. And I have an iPhone. So that's actually, I log in using Touch ID. So nobody can get into my password on my phone because nobody else has my fingerprint. So I can't say enough good things about protecting your passwords and getting a system in place that allows you to track them easily, share them easily, and all of that. We're at about 35 minutes in. I apologize for going a little long. I know that your time is valuable and I want to make sure that I honor your time. We only have one app to go through and it's gonna be very quick because there's way too much to cover. So we're just gonna do a very, very quick overview. The last application is actually Intuit QuickBooks apps. Most small businesses run on QuickBooks. Very few run on anything else. I mean, there are some other online softwares like Xero. I know some people use FreshBooks, but QuickBooks has sort of been the gold standard for small businesses for a long time now. It used to be everybody bought the desktop version and kept it forever and ever and a day until they didn't support some of the features anymore, and then they would upgrade their service. QuickBooks Online has made that sort of obsolete. You can still buy a desktop version of QuickBooks, but what Intuit has done is that anytime they roll out a new feature or anytime you need to make any changes to your QuickBooks desktop version, they require you to upgrade. So you used to be able to, if you needed to add an additional seat, you needed to add an additional user, QuickBooks would just sell you an additional license key, and you would enter the license key and then you would move along your merry way. They don't do that anymore. If you need to make any changes to a QuickBooks desktop version, they do require that you do an upgrade. And those upgrades are anywhere from $300 to over $1,000, depending on how many users you need. So I know in the past, a lot of people, they'll buy one version of QuickBooks desktop and they just keep it forever and ever and ever until they stop supporting the features. QuickBooks Online, it has the same security level as your bank. So if you're comfortable logging into your bank account on your computer or on your phone, the level of security for QuickBooks Online is exactly the same. There's no reason not to use the features. They have some great integrations, and that's where the QuickBooks apps comes in. Oh, let's go back. So the one that I love, one of the ones that I use all the time is this Tax 1099. So at the end of every year, you need to create 1099s. All small businesses need to, if you've paid somebody more than $650 in the year, you need to create a 1099. It used to be that 1099 preparation or 1099 miscellaneous preparation you'd have your CPA do it, or you'd have your bookkeeper do it. You know, and CPAs can charge up to $250, $300 an hour to do that sort of thing. And it would be, you know, you'd have to go out and purchase the kit, and you'd have to make sure you printed all the correct copies and that they were going to the right place. And goodness forbid, if you ever had to revise any of the 1099s, then you'd have to go through the whole process again and hopefully you had all of the information that you needed. Tax 1099 just makes that simple and electronic, and it's taken care of. You keep the information in your QuickBooks Online in your vendor account, and at the end of the year, with a couple of clicks of a button, it transfers the information directly over to your Tax 1099 and sends out everything electronically, including the reporting that you need to do for the states or IRS. Constant contact, if you do your email marketing, it'll allow you to sync your contacts for your marketing. Receipt Bank, Receipt Bank is very similar to Expensify. There's a couple of different programs that offer the same sort of receipt tracking information. Expensify is the one that I found is the easiest to use, but if you wanted to do something like Receipt Bank, then that links with your QuickBooks Online account. Depending on what you needed to do, if you're project-based, you're a construction company, you need to track time tracking and job costing. If you're a retail store that actually tracks inventory, sells products, needs to track sales tax, that sort of thing, there's apps that help you with your retail. Scheduling, if you're a service-based business, which a lot of us are these days, if you're a service-based business, this helps send invoices, schedule appointments, collect payments. If you're in manufacturing, a nonprofit, or a membership, it has all sorts of different apps based on your business type. And again, QuickBooks is the gold standard. They've been around for a long time, so they have experience in all sorts of different industries. Now, like I said, this is like IFTTT in that there are so many different categories that you can use: point of sale, project management, reporting, time tracking, expense management, CRM. It would take a long time for us to go through even a handful of the applications that are in here. I'm actually going to be doing a training in 2 weeks for an introduction to QuickBooks Online for anybody that's interested in learning more about QuickBooks Online and how the program works. And I'll review some of these applications at that time. If you are interested, that's going to be the same schedule. We're going to be running these webinars every Wednesday evening every Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully there's one of those times that will work for you. For now, so that's all I have for today. Those are the top 5 apps that I recommend for helping to streamline your business and your money life. I hope that this information was useful for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and you'll be receiving an email after the webinar is over with a link to the recording, so you can go back and review anything that you'd like, and my contact information will be there as well. So if you do have any questions or you need more information, please reach out to me. Also, for anyone that's interested, we are going to be doing an in-person live seminar on March the 25th, and that's at our Antioch office location on Lone Tree Way. If you are interested, the information to register for that event will be included in the recap and the link to the recording. It'll be a 2-hour seminar for $47 for the day. Included with that price will be the opportunity to have a one-on-one consultation, either with myself for any financial bookkeeping record setup help that you need, or with Jennifer Goldsmith, who, as I said before, is an attorney registered with the State Bar of California for any legal considerations for your business. The $47 also will give you access to some discounts that I have for the QuickBooks Online application. If that's something that you're interested in, please reach out to me. I'm happy to provide that to anybody that needs it. If there are no questions today, then I am going to sign off and wish you all a happy Wednesday. Have a good day. Thanks.